Hello, hello, come on in. Good morning, everyone. So let's make a start. Welcome to Growing on Social Media with eBay and Small Business Britain. So come on in. I'm going to say it lots of times, but I will just stress this is being recorded and it will be sent out to you afterwards. So don't worry too much. You're going to be able to access this again and again. So let's start with the awkward introduction. So welcome. My name is Catherine George. I am the founder of Oso Social. We are international multi-award winning social media marketing experts. Try saying that after you've had a few drinks. And I'm delighted to be here today working with Small Business Britain and eBay. I'm just going to stress that all of my views and opinions in this deck are my own. They don't reflect Small Business Britain or eBay. And once again, the webinar is being recorded and will be sent out to everyone afterwards. So what are we going to learn today? Social media is such a big, wide-ranging topic. What are you going to actually take away from this event? So the first thing we're going to look at is generally social media for business. So why we use social? What's the point? Why are we all putting all this time, effort, and energy into these platforms? Which social network works best for us as eBay sellers, as sellers, from an e-com point of view? Which networks should we be using and why? We're going to look at some content for sales. So hopefully everyone will come away with some really useful, practical tips on how we take people from just following us, just engaging with us, to actually, yes, they are ready to convert, they are going to purchase. And then we're going to have a little look at content calendars, because this helps you create that pattern, that constant content. It gives you a little bit of guidance. And I promise you, content calendars aren't as scary as people think. And then finally, we're going to look at social ads management. So how we can really accelerate your sales and growth using the paid options on platform. So we've got lots to cover. So let's jump straight in. So why do we use social media for business? This is a question I hear all the time. Why should I use social media? Or I'm using social media for my business, but I'm not really getting anything from it. And then I go, well, why? Why are you on these platforms? Why are you doing this? And I get all of the time, oh, someone told me to. My friend in the pub told me to. This event I went to said, get on Facebook, but I don't really know what I'm doing. And I don't really know what it can achieve. Well, as businesses, we use social media for so many reasons. We can use it for building and establishing a brand. If you want to start a well-known brand, you start on social because it's low cost and it's easy to amplify. You could be using your social to grow a following. So to bring and collect your community, your business customers together and really grow that following, grow your tribe and people who really want to become brand advocates and become engaged with you. Really, we use social media to build a business. There are so many businesses out there, mine included, that rely solely on social media as a marketing point of view. So it's this really valuable tool that can help us grow a business, sway public opinion, do so many different things. But really, the fundamental reason all businesses are on social is to make sales. It's all about bringing in that return on investment. So it's fundamentally important that we include that within our social media. It's so important that we include how we're going to make a sale and how we're going to make this really feasible within our social media strategy. So how do we begin? So it all starts with your customer. And I do apologize for anyone who's seen me speak before. I talk about this all the time, but just bear with me. We're going to cover this once more and then it's all going to be new stuff. But I say this so much and it's so fundamentally important because answering these questions and understanding your customer helps you create content. And not only does it help you create content, it helps you understand what you are really doing for your customer, what service you are bringing, how you are making their life better. So when we create our customer profiles, we need to ask ourselves these questions. Well, how old is my customer? What's their gender? Start to really flesh it out. And it's at this point, someone will always say to me, well, Catherine, I sell to everyone. No one on this call is selling oxygen. No one is selling to everyone. And then someone else will go, well, I sell to women. It's nice and simple. You speak to an 18-year-old very differently to the way you speak to a 64-year-old woman. So split this down. And if you do say, well, we sell to all men over different age demographics, give them different customer profiles, because you are doing something different for all of those customers. And as we'll find out shortly, we're probably targeting them and speaking to them on different networks. We have to think about who is their decision-making unit, their DMU. This is really important with e-com, and it's normally forgotten about. The DMU is the person who is actually parting with the cash. They are the person who is making that decision. So anyone on this call who is selling to children, we have to think, yes, we need to hook the child in. We need to really trigger that pester power. But we also have to speak to the parent, because they are the ones parting with the cold, hard cash. And now I've pointed that out to you. Next time you see an advert targeting children, you'll realize the first half really does talk to the child and the second half talks to the parent. There's a great example actually on TikTok, a case study called Pet Moss Rocks, which is really worth having a look at if you do sell to children and their parents. We have to think about if it's just them. Is the only person in their family unit the only people they have to think about them as an individual, or do they have a family? This is really important when you are selling certain products, when you are selling things like holidays, when you are selling things for the home. I know I've recently moved in with my partner. It's probably not recent anymore, but my buying decisions have massively changed now there is more than one person in my household. I've had to upgrade my slow cooker, my saucepans, my lean mean grilling machine, because all of a sudden I have to think about more people. So really think about that within your customer. Are you just appeasing them, or are you appeasing everyone? And then what's their social status? What are you selling that can affect their social status? If you are selling £200 saucepans, which I would now aspire to have, you're selling me a vanity statement. If you're selling £5 saucepans, you're selling something quick and simple that does the job. Does having a water bottle branded like Love Island improve your social status? Is your customer letting everyone know that they watch and engage with this? These are really tricky questions. I call this work squirrely work, because it's difficult and it's complicated, but honestly, if you invest the time, effort, and energy, it'll make your life so much easier. Don't worry about writing all these down. This webinar is being recorded and will be sent out to you afterwards. So just think about it while I'm going through. What's their income? And actually, what's their disposable income? And this is a massive thing to think about when you are an eBay seller. We know we are in a cost of living crisis, and we know that people think, I'm going to head to eBay to help increase my income, and actually because I'm probably going to get a really, really good deal. So think about your customers' income levels and disposable income levels. I know that I love Superdry as clothes. I'm really short, really struggle to find clothes. I always head to eBay to pick up my Superdry clothes, because I haven't got the disposable income to go to Superdry shopping all the time. So really think about that, because it alters the decision-making process. And then what is the reason for the purchase? Do you need it? Does the customer need what you are selling? Last thing I bought off eBay, very boring, was the little caps that go on your valves on your tires for a bike. I needed them. The thing I bought before that was a Superdry top. That was because I wanted it. I wanted something different. Understanding that helps guide your content creation. It's the same with hobby and lifestyle choices. If someone is sustainable, if you are targeting the younger generation who care so much about sustainability, that is fundamental. And making a big note of that helps you because that becomes a content pillar. Understanding if your audience are making sustainable life choices quickly becomes a content pillar for you or a content theme. I'll explain that later. What's their job? Do they need to repeat purchase from you? What's their education level? Are you targeting something very, very specific? And then most importantly, what problem are you solving for them? And that problem could be a feeling, it could be a desire, it could be I need something. But understanding what you are doing for your customer helps make your content so much easier. And what we also do within this process, when we are figuring out who our customer is by looking at their age, their income, their lifestyle choices, is we figure out what social media network they are using. Because you don't need to be on every social media network. You need to be where your customers are. It sounds simple, and it really is that simple. You need to focus your efforts. The amount of people who ring me, I'm a social expert, I have a social media agency. They ring me and the first thing they say is, I am so stressed out. I'm on every social media network and I don't really know what I'm doing. And I go, why are you on every network? And they go, because I do social media. You need to be where your customers are. By focusing your efforts, you take it from a massive mammoth task to a really pinpoint, clever marketing tool. And lots of people are going to be thinking, Catherine, I don't know why you're saying all this to me. But understanding these elements takes you from creating random posts. So you're just going onto Instagram or going onto Facebook and sharing a random picture, to actually creating content that speaks to your customers and makes their lives easier. Figuring out this initial work makes your content valuable to your audience, and it guides your content creation. Don't believe me? I was in the gym last night. I've joined the gym, long story. And I was watching this girl and I couldn't figure out what she was doing. And she brought weights with her. And I realized she was on Instagram watching a weight exercise using the item she had bought. I'm assuming from an e-com somewhere, maybe eBay. And she was using that tool, that equipment, and that guide to complete her workout. That spoke beautifully to that audience, to that customer. And by doing this work and figuring out if you've got gym bunnies or if you've got mechanics, it helps you create your content. So once you figured it out and what you figure out what your customers really care about, we start to create content pillars. So content pillars are now called content pillars. I think marketing agencies rebranded them basically so they can charge more. But content pillars are simply a content theme. This means you know what you're going to talk about and it gives you some guidance. It gets rid of that fear of, it's 5 o'clock on a Friday and I've not posted yet. What do I do? So your content themes or your content pillars should reflect different areas of your business. So what's important to your customer and what's important to the business. So that could be the sustainability element we spoke about earlier. It could be a hobby and lifestyle choice. It could be they are massive petrol heads and they want to join in with an in crowd. It could be that they are massive Love Island fans and they really want the latest bottle. So what can your content pillars look like? They tend to fall into a few different categories. Again, we are sending this recording out, so don't freak out too much about writing all this down. Your first one should always be your USP, your unique selling point. So what makes you different? Now, spoiler alert, most USPs aren't actually that unique. So we have to think about the business ethos and values, because it is you as an individual which will set people apart. And this is a fundamental thing to carry through on your social media, because people buy from people. They want to engage with you. So your environmental stance. So let's talk about the environmental ethos of your products. Let's talk about your environmental stance within your story. So I met a phenomenal seller on the eBay Roadshow who said to me, I sell horse rugs. I buy up all of the last season's horse rugs and I sell them because I don't want them to go to waste. And I want horse owners who care about the environment to be able to purchase last season to prevent waste. Really simple story, but really engaged with the audience. Benefits over features. Now, this is an interesting element to get your head into when you are selling and when you are marketing, but especially on social. So lots of people will showcase an awesome product and they will tell me that, I'm going to use a raincoat as an example, show me a great raincoat. And they tell me that it's waterproof and they tell me that it's got a long zip and they tell me that it's a certain denier. Well, actually, as a customer, I don't know what any of that is. I care about the features, which is it'll keep me dry from head to toe, even in a downpour. It's that simple. We always talk about our features. And then we look to value add. So this is where we share guides, blogs, how-tos, and we really showcase our products. So we create Instagram, Facebook, TikTok content, which showcases how you would use your product, which showcases a guide to how you dress in a sustainable way. We can have a blog and really share it through because this value adds. So this is no longer you selling to your audience. This is you advising your audience. This is the difference between sales and marketing. And it's called social media marketing, not social media sales. We are letting people know how awesome their life is going to be with our product in it. And there's so many other things you can take as content pillars. So showcasing what makes your business different is really important, but you can also use a balance of content. So you can create your own content, you can use third-party content, or my favorite user-generated content, which we're going to talk about a little later. Within all of our content, it is fundamentally important that you reflect the platform and the audience you're targeting. So if we are targeting 65-year-old gardeners, we're not going to be over on TikTok. If we are selling car parts to boy racers, we're probably going to be over on TikTok. It's understanding that, and we're going to use a language that relates to them. If we are targeting students and we know that there's a loan drop coming, we're going to do content on TikTok, on Instagram, which goes loan drop purchase, because that's a language they understand. It's why understanding your customer is so important. And when we create our content, we are going to balance it. So we're going to follow the rule of thirds. A third of your social media can be obvious sales posts, obvious calls to action. We've got a new arrival, buy it here. We've got this great product. It makes your life better by doing this, buy it here. A third can be brand building. So this is where we talk about your value add. This is where we talk about you. This is where we talk about your ethos, your values, your sustainability. And then a third is what we call social engaging content. So these vary so much, brand to brand, business to business. But if we are selling collectibles, if we're in that media category, your shareable, engaging content could be things like memes. It could be things like what Iron Man did next. If you're in parts and accessories, it could be someone you sponsor or you yourself at a racetrack over the weekend. If you sell things for the kitchen, it could be really simple e-cards that say, you know that feeling when your kitchen is clean. It's really important to remember that you don't become an internet sensation overnight, and you have to be social on these platforms. Remember, people use different platforms for different reasons, so our content should reflect this. And here's a few things that we use them for. So Facebook is our place for our daily connection. As users, we go to Facebook to feel connected to people. We use Facebook groups for community. So this is where we join our group and we feel connected to everyone else around us. We use Instagram for our daily inspiration. It's where we go to live our Insta lives, or I like to call mine my unicorn life. We use Pinterest for planning, Twitter for conversation, and LinkedIn for work. So everyone uses these networks for different reasons. So which network works best for you? So if you're in business and industrial, you need to be looking at things like business to business Facebook groups, Twitter, LinkedIn, and actually maybe TikTok. There is a really big growing element on TikTok and people are using it more and more for search. If you are in collectibles, we are looking at Facebook, Facebook groups, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Twitter. Again, we're sending out this recording, so don't worry about writing all these down. Electronics, it's all about Facebook. Home and garden, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. Lifestyle, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. You can see there is so much overlay. Media, we could use absolutely everywhere. So Facebook, groups, Insta, TikTok, Pinterest, Twitter. And parts and accessories, Facebook, your Facebook groups, and TikTok. Now, the important thing to remember is, I don't want you to be sitting there going, oh my God, Catherine, I work in collectibles, and that's a huge list. It is a huge list because this is a talk for 200-300 people. What you need to do is go back to your customer and go, do you know what? Yes, I do have collectibles, but actually I sell these really niche collectibles. And actually I haven't got the content to post on Instagram every day. And actually my audience is hanging out in Facebook groups. So I'm going to do what Catherine told me. I'm going to focus my efforts and I'm going to spend time in Facebook groups. Could be the same with lifestyle. You could go, do you know what? I could be anywhere, but I'm going to look at my audience. And actually, I'm selling to quite a wealthy female audience, slightly older. So I'm going to focus on Facebook and Pinterest. Understand these platforms and understand your audience, and then it becomes easier. I want to spend a little moment talking about Facebook groups. So Facebook groups are something that we didn't cover on the roadshow. We just didn't have time. And actually, they are very much the secret weapon to social. Because actually, a lot of the groups on Facebook is where buying and selling happens. Facebook groups are a place for community. So as a business, we have two different options. We can either join other groups or create your own. I would personally always recommend a hybrid of both, because we all know those groups. There are so many. So how do you find the best ones? So the best groups to join, go to Facebook and start searching for something. Now, again, think about what problem you are solving for your customer. So I am a horse rider. One of my horses has sweet itch, so she's allergic to flies, basically. So if I was selling fly rugs for horses that I knew helped sweet itch, I would be looking for groups like sweet itch support. If I was a seller selling things for weddings, I would be going to Facebook and I would be searching in weddings. I'd then look through the list. I would look and see how much engagement is. I would read the rules. So I'd look to see, am I okay to sell in this group? And I'm going to look through the content. I'm going to see who else is currently engaging and what kind of content is there. Then when I join, I'm going to take part. I'm not going to go in and just spam sell. I'm going to go in and engage with other people, feel involved with other people, and actually start to build a community. And then the flip side of this is you could start your own group. So if you have VIPs or an ideal customer, or if you want to really position yourself as a brand, starting your own group can be a really good idea. Because on Facebook, there are groups for everything, absolutely everything. So here's just a few examples. My partner is actually the admin of the UK Suzuki Swift GTI fan club group. It is one of the most active groups I have ever seen on Facebook. And so much of it is people buying and selling car parks. It's phenomenal. But like I said, there are groups for absolutely everything. We've got business, we've got equestrian, we've got Lego, you name it, there will be a group for it. But actually, it's what's inside the groups that's important. So in my personal favorite Facebook group, the group where we roast our horses for doing dumb things, it's just people going, this is what my silly horse has done now. But the first post I come across is this bridle. And it's people saying, where can I buy this bridle? And there's a surprising amount of eBay sellers going, I sell it here, I sell it there. And the beauty with selling on eBay is I trust eBay. If I look in the paddleboard group, I see people going, well, here's this great blog. Actually, it talks all about this racer, what he's up to. There's loads of tips in it. And then it also promotes what he's up to and what products he's selling. And then my final example on the right, from parts and accessories, within this group, I have, I am stripping down this engine, or this engine has just been stripped, all available on eBay. But we also see things like, I'm trying to get an extra 5 miles per hour. Bear with me, I'm not cars. How would I do that? And we see it within local groups as well. People will go, hi guys, I am looking for a wedding thing. I am looking for something to wear with this top. I'm horrendous at dressing myself. Anyone who's seen me in public will know that. So I'm members of groups where I go, hi guys, I found this skirt in a charity shop. How can I find a vintage top to match it? So that's why it's so important to look at those groups. And like I said, focus your efforts. So which networks already work for you? Where are you at the moment and what works really well? And then also ask yourself this question, which networks do you like? I'm a social media expert at the end of the day, so I'll always give you the best advice. But I'm also a busy business owner, and I know that we're all tired. So actually, when I say to you, now go and do all this work on a network you hate, you're never going to get the best results. So think about where you like as well. And then ask yourself the question of what do you really have time for? If you are time poor, you might need to look at these other networks that work harder for you. So places like TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, Facebook groups, over Instagram, where you have to show up and work hard for it. So understand your customer and then start to understand their journey to really pick these through. So what do I actually mean by customer journey? So this is a really difficult thing to describe, but hopefully I've managed to achieve it. So fingers crossed. And your customer journey is where someone goes from not knowing about you to being ready to purchase. So I just want to give you a couple of different examples. So here's one from Home and Garden. Again, this is actually me. So I need some low-cost garden furniture for the summer. Our back garden is currently a building site. I just need something for a year. I need something that's good quality, but it's cheap. So I'm just going to head straight to eBay. Nice and simple. I know I can get something of a good quality. I know it's going to last well. I know it's not going to break the bank. So I've started on eBay and I found something I like on eBay. If this is your customer, you might not need a network at all. Whereas in comparison, we're a few years down the line now. We've been working on the garden for years. It's finished. It's finally done. But now I need to find the right furniture to finish it off. I don't quite know what that is. So actually, I'm going to start on Pinterest. I'm going to start on Pinterest and I'm going to start searching things like garden furniture, or actually maybe sustainability matters to me. So I might start searching for sustainable garden furniture. I'm going to find something I like. I'm going to pin it. So I'm going to keep it. I'm going to review it. I'm going to come back to it later. And then actually, I'm going to head over to eBay. Luckily for me, eBay have got social tools, so I know that my listing is correct. I know it's there. I know it's accurate. As a customer, I already trust eBay. So I found the product I like on Pinterest. I'm going to purchase it on eBay. Your customer journey will be different depending on your customers and depending on your sector, depending on your vertical, and depending what you're really selling. And hopefully this is a really nice example of the difference in price point and the difference in purchase motivation. Because yes, 5 of you on this call could be selling garden furniture, but you could be selling something very different all at the same time. So now you've done all of this, it's time to start actually writing and creating your content. I know we're half an hour in and I'm only just telling you to start writing, but I promise you doing those bits first make it so much better. So first of all, remember these reasons. Again, we're sending this out. Don't worry about writing it down. But when we are creating our content, we need to think, do you know what? I'm creating content for Facebook today. It has to connect with my audience. Or do you know what? Actually, I'm creating content for Pinterest today. So I have to think planning. I have to think value add. I have to think advice. We then have to consider our sales funnel, because actually different customers at different points of their journey are going to be using different platforms. And what is the tricky thing about social media is it sits along the entire sales funnel. So we might look at our customer and we go, okay, we need to really drive awareness. We really need to push that through. And actually our awareness for our customer could happen on TikTok. But that could then lead across to Facebook where they make the interest and the decision. So again, spend your time looking at your customer and then create content for different parts of your sales funnel. So create different content to reflect different parts of this funnel and customer journey. So how do we create content for awareness? Nice and simple. We kind of start with brand building. So brand building, actually, I really like the example on the left for this. Really nice and simple. I'm really pleased with my new earring and necklace boxes. It's environmentally friendly. And it's got my name on it in big letters. Really nice brand building. Sharing your story. So what you're up to, what you're doing. Start to build a brand. Start to bring in your custom controller. There's one for everyone. Does what it says on the tin. It's customized. Start to build authority. So if you're doing something with your car and you're doing it in the garage, make a video, put it on TikTok. Let people realize that you are really good at what you do. Talk about your values, talk about your ethos. Appeal to your customers' emotions. So really look at kind of bringing them in and then use your social proof. So at no point in the top part of your journey should you be trying to sell. You are just letting people know what you are, who you are, what you're all about, and what value you are bringing to them. Whereas your content for consideration is moving people down this funnel. So they've already found you, but now they need to learn and understand more about you. So how can they do that? So you can build trust by sharing reviews. You can go, yeah, we've had this great review from this great customer, here it is. So you can turn that into content. You can value add. You can showcase your authority. You can do comparisons. You can inspire. So you can show people how to style 1940s dresses. You can trigger that want. You can showcase. and you can really share your success stories. So I'm just going to point out in here the Suzuki Swift rack, actually. So this is a great example of using groups really well. This person is chatting in the group. He's always engaging. And then one day he pops up with, hey guys, I've made this. What do you think? So he's built this trust, and actually it's not even available for sale yet. He's triggering desire that it's coming. But what we can see with these examples is a really good balance of inspiring and that trust building element. And then finally, for sales, to get people over the line, we need something to do that final push. And there are so many different ways to do that. And one of the easiest wins across all social that I say to people all the time is tell people it's for sale. So here's some really great examples of actually really clear triggering of this is for sale, shop now. So when you actually want people to convert, we need to use our obvious calls to actions. We need to make sure we link to our products. Maybe we use offers, or we trigger FOMO, so the fear of missing out. People are really psychologically scared of the fear of missing out. That's why you see things like hurry, limited tickets available, selling fast, only a few in stock, because you're triggering that fear of missing out. Use flash sales, use offer codes, and use those triggers you know your customer really, really cares about. But social media is so much more than content. We also have to think about social proof. So social proof can trigger a sale at any point in the sales funnel, and it can drive them across so many different touch points. And social proof is basically not you telling me how great you are. It's someone else, an existing customer, someone across social telling me how great you are. So how do you get them? So first of all, don't be afraid to make your eBay reviews work really hard for you. If someone's left you a review on eBay, go over to Canva, create a free account, set up a template, and use that as a base within your content, like we've seen on the previous slide. Make sure you turn on your Facebook reviews. This is really simple to do. Just go to Facebook, page settings, templates and tabs, and then slide on the reviews tab. Again, this is being recorded, so don't worry about writing that down. And then most importantly, engage with tags across all of your channels. So if someone is tagging you, if someone is engaging with you, make sure you share that content on. Make sure you share and engage with that social proof. Once you get that content, share it. Use it in your feed, share it into your stories, and really make it work hard for you. And wherever possible, share your social handles. When you're sending out products, when it's on your eBay store, when it's on your socials, encourage it. And don't be afraid to incentivize and encourage sharing. If you don't ask for it, you're never going to get it. And you'd be surprised at the perceived value in competition rewards. We once worked with a great brand, and we offered a £50 voucher for anyone who shared a picture of the product. The product retailed at £300. People never used their voucher, but they worked very hard to get it. The next element we have to think about is community management. So community management means engaging with people on social. So like I said to you earlier, it's called social media because we have to be social. This means you have to engage and you have to reply to people. So make sure you set aside time each day to reply and engage with your audience. So anyone that's tagged you, anyone that's commented anything, anyone that's liked and shared anything, say thank you. Share that content on, because it gives them a warm, fuzzy feeling and it helps staple that brand relationship. Thank your customers for feedback. It's just good manners. And if nothing else, like their comments. Community management is really fundamental in social, so please make sure you do it. And if they ask any questions, make sure you answer them. So a few general content top tips. So always think multi-touch. So be consistent across all of your channels. So this means don't talk about something over on TikTok that you then don't mention on Facebook. Don't say you have an offer on, but only mention it on one channel because it confuses people. So be consistent. Remember, people will be at different parts of their customer journey on different channels. Ration your content. So many people put so much content into one post, it doesn't need to be there. When you are creating content, think one post, one message. So don't go, oh, I've got this great water bottle and it's BPA free and it's this and it's that, it's the other. One message, one post. I've got this branded water bottle. Next week, it's BPA free. I've got this great new stock of clothes in. Next week, vintage Dior arrived. Next week, perfect week work look. Make your content sweat. Make it work really hard for you. Make sure you use scheduling software to save time. Biggest secret in social media is it's all scheduled. So use scheduling software. Go and create a Canva account because it will help level up your content. It'll help you create some really quick, easy branding tools. And make sure you use all of the tools available to you, which include the tools within eBay. So eBay have got this great social media page within eBay. So please go and check it out because it's really cool and it's going to save you loads and loads of time. So now your store sellers can link your main social accounts, so Facebook, Insta, Pinterest, and Twitter, and create custom posts from this social page. So with the ability to the link comes the opportunity for sellers to bulk channel post. So again, it saves you time, it's more engaging, more creative, and it ensures that actually your product is still there and it links the right place. So it gets rid of so much human error as well as saving time. I absolutely love these tools actually within eBay. Like I've already said, they ensure it links to the correct product page, but it also suggests some really great hashtags for you. So what it does is it saves you time and allows you to post in different ways directly from platform. So massive time saving, but also can really help level your content up. So once we've done all of this, how do we make sure we don't forget anything? How do we make sure we're keeping everything really balanced? Well, we build all of these elements into a content calendar. And a content calendar is simply a way to plan and organize your social media content. It includes what you're going to share, where you're going to share it, and when you're going to do it. So lots of people really overthink content calendars, but they are so simple. The big things to remember are that you balance your content and you remember what you're really selling. So we focus on the features, not the benefits. We have our content pillars and themes. So it means we can balance our content because we know we're not selling every day. We're including some of the other elements our customers really care about. We can also use our content calendar to think outside. Lots of people are sitting here going, Catherine, I don't have that much content. When it comes to content calendars, they allow you to think about all of these other opportunities. We've just had a coronation, so you can tie that within your content. We are about to have another, I think we've got one more bank holiday left in May. So use that within your content. Perfect bank holiday outfit. We know where you'll be spending your bank holiday with a Dungeons and Dragons board. Link it through to your customer and use these events to make your content last longer. And like I've said before, use scheduling software because it makes your life so much easier. And always remember to review and test. And your content calendar can be built anywhere. So if you only use Facebook and Instagram, you can use Facebook's Creator Studio. It's that simple. Just create your content calendar as you build your content in and drag and drop it around. You can use Excel or Google Sheets and come up with a really simple plan. I looked after the Dancing on Ice tour and we did the entire thing on a bit of paper that said on a Monday we talk about this, on a Tuesday we talk about that. Sometimes simple is better. Or you could use Trello. I personally love Trello, so it's all about the way you prefer to work. So my final top tips to how to really master organic. So the first one is give yourself time. Turn content creation into a habit. Join Canva and create some templates. Make sure you set aside time each day for community management. Use really good scheduling software. Turn on that Facebook reviews tab and encourage and use user-generated content and your social proof. So, and finally, use your tools within eBay. But what about social ads? So I'm the first one to tell you that social ads aren't magic. And we have a really clear difference between organic and paid social. Organic social has a long ROI and it's a long, slow, painful journey, but it's very worthwhile. Whereas paid, it's a much quicker way to amplify your message, but you do have a very fickle audience. Like most elements of marketing, they work better together. So you can bring in new customers with your paid advertising, but keep them engaged and excited with your organic. This will help you maintain your brand loyalty, help increase your long-term return on investment, and keep your sales funnel going. So when is the right time to start advertising? And I get asked this question all of the time. And there isn't a black and white answer, but the key things to look at is you're confident in your platforms, your organic content is working, you've got your reputation and your credibility. So you've got your social proof, you've got your reviews on. But most importantly, you've got the stock and systems in place. The amount of times I've seen an ad campaign go really well and the stock hasn't been there to support it. And before you start advertising, think about these 5 points. So have a really clear business goal. Please don't hit the big boost post button because Facebook told you to. That is not a reason to advertise. Have a clear goal. I want to sell more of product X. That's a good business goal. And understand the customer you are selling for product X. And understand what you're really selling. Because understanding your customer helps you with targeting. Because on all social networks, we can really drill down to who we are targeting. And by understanding what you're really selling, that helps create your content. Test different advertising content and set a budget that you can afford. So with social ads, always start small and scale your budget. And always build a funnel, not just an advert. So think about your customer journey and how it's going to work. Select the correct objective. So if you select a meta ad, for example, everyone on this call is going to want traffic because that sends people to the website where they are likely to buy. Make sure you collect your audience. And if you are running adverts to eBay, you optimize for link clicks. And make sure your creative is very, very clear and easy to understand. And here's just a few of my favorite examples. So really clear offers, really clear value proposition, and really easy to understand what's going on. And what works well in adverts? Anything mentioning free delivery. And in general now, they do say it's not worth advertising anything for e-commerce that doesn't have free delivery. People will pay more to not pay for delivery, which I know seems like a paradox, but we do know it to be true. Anything that's made in the UK, anything that offers free returns because it gives me that safety net, anything that mentions the price, because then if someone can't afford it, it puts them off straight away. It saves you wasting budget on them, and anything that focuses on your benefits, not your features. But the best thing to do is to make your paid and organic work together. So grow your organic audiences and retarget them with adverts. Grow your organic content, find the ones that work best and use it for advert creative. And build your social proof and your user-generated content and turn that into ad creative as well. So my final top tips for ads management is have really clear messaging, really clear. This is what I want you to buy. This is where you buy it. Always test. All social media is always a test because we're competing against everything. Make sure to build your sales funnel and have this really clear business goal. And then go and get some decent ads training. There is so much training out there. All of the platforms do offer free training, and most of them will even give you reps to help guide you through. Alternatively, we have a course over on ososavvy.com, which actually we did with Small Business Britain. It's accessible for free, so don't be afraid to have a look over there. So hopefully that was helpful. Thank you very much for joining us today. And if anyone needs a question afterwards, I am the easiest person in the world to find. I'm Catherine George, and I'm on every social media network at osocatherine. So thank you very much to eBay for having me, and I'll see you all soon.